North Dakota. This is a Scribe's Journey with your host, Richard Polinelli.
Hey everybody, we are back for another week. Hope you had a great week. We're going to have a good show. I was hoping to be outdoors shooting this, basically because we had a really good location picked out that was going to fit in with the show. We got hit with Snowmageddon. We can't get there. We just can't get to the location and do what we want to do. So we're back inside. And if winter ever leaves Nebraska, which it's now February 27th, and we've got more snow coming up weekend, and then the following week, once the snow goes away and I can actually get to some of the places we've picked out, we're going to get out there, and I think you're going to enjoy some of the places we've got. In the meantime, we've got a great show. Our guest today is Declan Finn. He is a 3-time Dragon Award nominee. I've only got one Dragon Award nomination, so he's got me. He's the leader in the clubhouse right now. He's coming up. Let's get to him. Got a special treat for you. We're going to debut a book trailer for one of my books. First time we're going to air it on the show. Let's catch that, and I'll see you in about 90 seconds with our guest, Declan Finn.
My name is Detective Tommy Nolan, and I am a saint.
Okay, and we're back here on A Scribe's Journey, and we have our guest. Let's introduce him. Declan Finn is the author of books ranging from thrillers to urban fantasy to sci-fi. In 2016, his book, Honor at Stake, was a Dragon Award finalist for Best Horror. And the following year, he was a finalist in both horror for Live and Let Bite and apocalyptic for Codename Unsub. So he leads me 3-1 in Dragon Award nominations. I'm going to catch you. Finn is one of a legion of writers over at the Catholic Geeks blog, and they are a legion because they are many. Other books he has written includes the comedy thriller It Was Only on Stun, where he blows up a sci-fi convention, and the sequel to that is Set to Kill, a novel that spun off his parody Sad Puppies Bite Back. He co-authored the science fiction espionage novel Codename Winterborn and Codename Unsub. But he is most proud of The Pious Trilogy and his Love at First Bite Quartet, both which were recently re-released by Silver Empire Press. His most recent releases include the St. Tommy NYPD series Hellspawn, Death Cult, and Infernal Affairs, and the upcoming space opera series White Ops. He works for Silver Empire Press, as their Book of the Month Club can be found on his website, DeclanFinn.com, or wherever someone is starting trouble, and that's usually where you're going to find both Declan and myself, right in the middle of it. So welcome to the show, Declan. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. I've been better, but I don't have snowpocalypse this week.
Yeah, count yourself lucky. We are still shoveling our way out here in Nebraska, and nobody knows why. You know, the thing hit Saturday, and 2 days later we're still buried. So we might see the earth again. Who knows?
Oh, don't worry. When we had Snowmageddon, it was Superstorm Sandy. What was it, 7 years ago now? And
yeah,
we're only just discovering, hey, Mike Bloomberg in New York City ripped off FEMA for a lot of things that we never gotten to. I'm shocked, I say.
A politician being crooked? Say it isn't so, sir.
Hey, I had figured that Bloomberg was going to be for 2020, and now it's like, huh, this might be problematic. But then again, scandals hasn't stopped anybody else from deciding they're going to run. So who
Hey,
knows?
I think now it's almost a job requirement. You have to have at least one, maybe two scandals under your belt before you can run for office again. Who knows? So now your series, the St. Tommy NYPD series, that's based in New York. You're based in, I think you live in the New York City area. So was it kind of a natural to put that series right there?
Pretty much. I mean, I walk the setting every day, and heck, there are one or two elements that were literally from local news. And I figure, okay, this is going to be edgy. This is going to be, so much news to everybody because a street gang with pretensions of being a terrorist cell had killed two or three people, not rock throwing distance from my neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
And, that all got spoiled when MS-13 got mentioned in the State of the Union about a month later. So, yeah, this goes to show you, never try to be trendy, ever.
Yeah, that tends to not work too well sometimes. So tell us a little bit more about the series. Now it's the main character is Detective Tommy Nolan, and what is he out there battling?
Well, Detective Tommy Nolan has this slight problem of a serial killer who's kind of possessed by a demon. And this was one of these ideas I had in 2001. And it's like, I'm sitting in a Catholic Christian spirituality and mysticism class and hearing about some of the charisms of saints. They can bilocate, they can smell evil. And all I could think is, that would be the ability to smell evil would be great for a homicide cop. And of course, if we're going to make a cop, give the cop miraculous abilities. The only proper adversary for round one is a serial killer possessed by a demon. And when my publisher, Silver Empire, was re-releasing my urban fantasy series, Love at First Bite, the publisher said, "So, Declan, you have any other urban fantasy ideas you could pitch me?" It's like, okay, give me 5 minutes. So I threw 3 ideas at him, and he said, "Okay, we'll take the Saint one." It's like, okay, fine. Funny enough, that was the one I had least amount of data for, because it's like, yeah, it's this vague idea I've had for like the last 2 decades,
Yeah.
and surprisingly enough, it's been one of the faster series to write since well, in the last 3 to 4 months, I've written 3 to 4 books in the series, so it's been fun.
Well,
But no,
you're working on
that
City of Shadows right now, aren't you? Or is that coming out soon?
that's coming out. I just finished book 5, Crusader, which should be coming out within the next 35 days of City of Shadows, which I keep referring to as St. Tommy Abroad for plot reasons. Because, one of the advantages of having a character who can bilocate, you can beat up on him twice as much.
Yeah.
And I take the opportunity as often as possible.
So the series as it lays out, it's Hellspawn is the first one, Death Cult, then Infernal Affairs, and then City of Shadows, which is either out or about to come out, and then we get into the 5th book. How many do you have planned? Is this going to just keep going till you just run out of ideas, or?
Well, this one is outlined up to book 6 so far. And if you read my books, you might figure out that I'm a wee bit of a smartass.
No,
And
no.
but by the end of book 6, I had decided that, well, I'm going to leave a little bit of a breadcrumb to hint at future books while I work on. Hold on. White Ops is going to be 13 novels. Honeymoon from Hell is going to be at least 3 to 6 novels. So, in 2 years when I get back to St. Tommy, people should have something to look forward to.
There you go. Yeah. See, and the longest series I've written is 3 books, and by the end of the 3rd book, I was sick and tired of all the characters. I was like, I'm tired of you people. I was bumping people off. I pulled a J.K. Rowling in the Deathly Hallows, the last book. Because I got the feeling reading it, she got so sick and tired of these people. I'm killing you off. I'm bumping you off. I never liked you in the first place. You're dead. And she was coming up with some nasty ways to kill people. And I kind of felt that way with some of my characters in the 3rd book of my series. It's like, I'm sick of you. Get out. So you're talking, 13 books for one series? And I'm just like, wow. I think I'd be in an insane asylum by the 10th book on writing the same character.
Well, I have always prided myself on never being all that sane to begin with.
Okay, there you go.
Let's face it, if we both had all of our marbles to start with, would we be in our profession?
Probably not. I think you have to be a little loose upstairs to even jump into this field in the first place. So,
yeah. The amount of times I have described, my day job as legalized schizophrenia, which most people are going, does he take medication for this? It's like, no. How will I hear all of my invisible friends?
Yeah, you think about it. We spend our time talking to people in our heads that don't exist.
Oh yeah, and let's face it. I don't know about you, but in my neighborhood, the people in my head are more interesting than some of my neighbors.
Having visited New York City, I could see that. I just killed any chance of me getting the keys to New York City right there. But
Oh, trust me, if you're somewhere to the right of Mao or Stalin, you don't get a chance of the keys to the city.
There
Unless,
you
of
go.
course, it's a miracle we get Rudy Giuliani back.
Yeah, I don't see that happening right now, but yeah. Who knows? Now you were, I believe it's the 5th book of the St. Tommy series. You had a character named Father Richard Freeman. Is that right?
He was actually book 1.
Oh, he's in book 1. Okay, now you mentioned something the other day, and I want to bring this up for our people who are writing their first book and are struggling, because I see this all the time. How do I come up with names for the characters? The way you came up with the name for this character, if you don't mind, I'd like you to share it so that it gives the authors out there, this is just one of many ways you can create a name for a character without killing yourself over it.
Oh, that part was easy, because Father Richard Freeman came about because both you and A.M. Freeman, another author friend of ours, were on Facebook at the same time. It's like, okay, I'll take that first name and that last name, and we're done.
And it can be just that simple. I've had a lot of people who will ask me, how did you come up with the name for this character? An author the other day said, I'm stuck. I can't come up with a name. I said, you know what? You can go online and there's name generators. You can do that. Or you could just take 2 names from 2 different people and smash them together as you did. And you're there. You've got your name. As long as it sounds right, go with it, and that's exactly what you did.
Oh, yeah, I would. Okay, I'm going to date myself and say, hey, you want a name? Whip open the phone book. But I don't think those exist anymore, damn it. And hell, there was one alien language I picked up while I was in Ireland because I opened up their phone book and just copied down Gaelic.
There you go. Yeah, I've done that with one character. I think it was an online phone directory for one of the former little Russian satellites. I'm like, okay, that sounds like it could be a name. Let's go with it. Yeah. Don't kill yourself on these names, guys. Unless it's a major character. people are going to read the name once and move on, and they're not going to sit there and question too much, I don't think.
Although, if you have an alien race and you call them Spetsnaz, that might be
Yeah.
paragraphing it a little bit.
Yeah. Well, one thing I did, and I had an alien race in Escaping Infinity, and I think you know what group I'm talking about. I just took real names and dropped the vowels out.
That makes perfect sense. And now I can't name you any names because, good Lord, how long ago was that book? At least 4 years now.
It's been a couple of years since since it came out and you've read it. So I couldn't even tell you half the names I used in that book right now. You look over here at the shelf of what I've got done and what I'm working on, and if I tried to go back, I'd have to reread the book if I go back to do a sequel, which people are still yelling at me to do. If I could ever figure out how to do it, I would, but
frankly, I think you pretty much covered all your bases with the last 50 pages. That could have been a sequel, but you're done.
I keep looking at it like what loose end did I not tie off by the end of that book? But what are you going to do? Now your first books were, and I'm going to ask you this because I don't remember the chronology here. Was it The Pious Man, or was it the Love at First Bite series?
Believe it or not, neither.
Okay.
The first one was It Was Only on Stun, followed shortly thereafter by the Pious trilogy.
Okay.
Since I self-published all of them to start with, I figured, okay, It Was Only on Stun can be treated as a throwaway because Pious was the one I really wanted to get out. And then Silver Empire came along and said, okay, we'll take the Pious trilogy, all 5 books, because there's a trilogy, there's an anthology, there's all the historical footnotes, because, hi, historian, I have to give you footnotes. Thankfully, the original draft, which has not survived to my recollection, had footnotes in it, in the text. So that could have been awkward.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be an oops. Now you're also going to be showing up in a book later on this year, I hope. I've got my fingers crossed we're getting this done. The Planetary Anthology series has been grinding out books. We're a little slower than had originally been hoped, but you're going to be in Planetary Pluto, which I'm editing. You've got a story called The Collector, and I'm thrilled that it's getting in there because I think it's a nice little addition to the collection. And then I am going to be in Luna, which you're editing, I believe.
Correct. And my funny thing about that, now that Luna is 2 different books, I'm editing both of them. Apparently, we got Superversive Press got a lot of entries for the Moon. So many that it's, hey, how about we make The Dark Side of the Moon? Okay, we can do that. And to be honest, I don't recall which one yours is going to be, and might be The Dark Side, because, well, it went a little dark.
It did, but I thought it ended on a high note.
Yes, it did, and which is pretty much the reason it got in. One of the problems of the anthology, and part of the problems of me being the one editing it, is the Moon represents despair, among other things. And all I could think is, yeah, if it makes me want to slit my wrists by the end, it's not getting in. Yours didn't. So it got in.
I'm sure it teetered on the edge because it was, the story is Polar Shift, and it deals with all my stories in the Planetary series that are going to get in have the same theme. It's the last human being in whatever situation they happen to be in. It's the last human being as far as we know. So I'm sure I kind of skated the edge, but I'm glad to see I didn't go over it. But that's a nice problem to have. I had the same problem with Pluto. We were going to run 21 stories, and I had to beg, borrow, and steal 10,000 extra words from the publisher to get those 21 in, and I had to turn down almost as many. So we got a lot in, and at the last minute too, because I'm sitting there going, we're not going to have enough to make a full book. And then a week later, I'm like, okay, now I have 2 books worth now, and yeah. So would you ever do one of these again? That was where I'm going with this. Would you edit an anthology again?
Would I do an anthology? Yes. For contributing? Yes, depending on who with. Would I edit? Yes, depending on who with.
Okay. I don't know in my case, because I've enjoyed doing it, but man, it takes a lot of time and a lot of effort to get it, going through all the stories and make sure you've got the right ones that you want for your collection, especially when you get bombarded like I did. And you did, but you got bailed out. You got to make 2 books.
Yeah, well, I would have been happy just spiking more stuff, but I never got around to that point. And now we haven't set out all of the exceptions or all of the rejections yet, because we don't know who's going to be in all of them just yet. There are some people with the attitude of, okay, everybody who submitted, they get in. It's like, no, that's not how I play. Thank you.
Nope. And not every story I submitted to the anthology series made it either. I got the rejection slips. I'm right there with everybody I sent one to on Pluto. So, that's not fun. That's the other part of it. It's not fun to tell a writer, hey, your story just wasn't good enough to make it. I'm kind of the one I want everybody to be successful, and I hate to be the one who denies them that success for, however long it is.
There are comments I could make, but the one I will go with is, just because it gets rejected doesn't necessarily mean it sucks. I mean, hell, there are several books that got submitted to Luna because somebody just had a story kicking around. And it's like, this might apply.
Yeah. Well, we had a good 8 to 10 stories that, if I had the room to put them in, they would have made it. But, when you've got this, you can only go up to 100,000, and we're going to give you 10,000 more because you're begging and pleading. You got to cut somewhere, and they just didn't quite get there.
Yeah, although I don't know how your experience was, but after a while, it's like, okay, fine, between 2,000 and 8,000 words, not a problem, right?
Right.
10,000 word submission, 12,000 word submission. Like, guys,
I think the biggest one I got was 17,000, which would have been a fifth of the book or a sixth of the book. It was a great story, but it was just too big. And if you try to cut it down, you're going to gut the story. So,
well, apparently, all right, one of the people who's going to be submitting eventually to Dark Side of the Moon, I think, is going to be John C. Wright. Now, I don't know if you've heard his wife discuss his editing abilities, but it's like, okay, I've got this 4,000 word short story. I'm going to edit now because the entry is capped at 3. Come back the next day. It's now 6,000 words long. I'm going to edit some more. Come back.
Stop editing.
So,
yeah.
That's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I've been there. I went to edit one time and I had more words. I'm like, no, that's not how this works. It's, the other way, the other direction, please. So one of the things we do, thus the name of the show, Scribe's Journeys, we ask our guests how they managed to get to where they are now as far as what drove you to turn to writing.
Well, I've wanted to be a writer since I was 16. I accidentally did fan fiction, so I've committed that mortal sin, and I've worked my way around it. And that was 22 years ago. So, and I just kept at it. I even chose my college major because, oh, history, there are stories. Well, let's roll with it. And I got 5 books out of it, so I'm not complaining too much. And to be honest, a lot of it has just been sheer persistence and being too stubborn to know when to stop. Um, Self-published in 2012. I self-published 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I self-published at least 10 to 15 books before I got picked up by by a publisher. And at least one of those books has been picked up by a publisher, unpublished by a publisher, self-published, picked up by a different publisher, and unself-published, then republished. So that one ping-ponged a little bit.
He had a bit of a winding road for that one on the journey, I take it.
Oh, the entire running gag, if you go through my writing blogs on, declanfinn.com, the running gag is, and then it spiraled. I started doing fan fiction because I needed to get a character out of my head. 4 novels later, and of course, I figured, in my stupidity back then, okay, so every novel is between 300 and 400 words. So I'm going to do 8.5 by 11 paper and single space them. So it's like 4 books that add up to about 1,600 pages single spaced, probably more like 3,200 double spaced, about twice as long as they should be. And from there, it's just crap. Now I'm addicted, and It kept going. And hell, I was writing. Yeah, I was writing through high school, through college. I had one series that was going to be really cutting edge. I was going to put it 10 years in the future. I was writing in 1999. Then 9/11 happened. It's like, okay, rewrite. That one hasn't come out yet.
Yeah, if I could go back and change something on one of my books, I'd almost have to, because it references a building that no longer exists. Would it be still, the rubble would still be there 100 years later, but that's not the case anymore because it's a parking lot now. So what are you going to do? That's the risk you take when you write into the future and hope that somebody doesn't come along and torpedo what you wrote.
Oh, that's all right. There is one place that I used for Crusader, Book 5 of St. Tommy. It is literally called, in Germany, Morderberg. It's like Murderberg. It's like, this is too perfect. And it was Soviet construction. It looked like it could have been Gulag. It was a police barracks. And you look at it now, and it's something out of Silent Hill or a slasher film. And then I realized that all the photos were at least 4 years old. Look it up on Google Maps. Okay, this looks good. This looks scary. Look it up on Google Maps on the phone, and you realize it's all been demoed.
Nice.
It is currently under construction as something else.
Oh, yeah, that's always fun when they do that to you.
Mm-hmm. But, I used it anyway.
Alt history. Alt history. That's the big thing now. We'll just say it's alternate history. That's what I'm going to do when people go, hey, Candlestick Park got flattened. It's a parking lot now. It's like alternate history. Because according to Maelstrom, we all got blowed up 2 years ago. So we'll go alt history on that one for now. Now you mentioned your blog. Your website's declanfinn.com, and that's where you find the blog. Where else can people find you online?
TheCatholicGeeks.com over at WordPress.
Okay.
I usually where I vent my spleen at whatever stupidity is being written about the Catholic Church this week. And since Pope Francis came in, that's been a lot. Let me see. My blog, Catholic Geeks blog. Twitter. I'm on Facebook as Declan Finn. I've got a Declan Finn homepage on Facebook. I've got a Love at First Bite page on Facebook. I don't have a St. Tommy page yet, but that's because I've been too busy writing the series.
Yeah, you got to do the important stuff first. Hey, you cut out on your Twitter handle. Can you repeat that for us?
Declan Finn Books.
On Twitter. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Just in case, because I couldn't hear you and I saw something going on down on our end. It's probably the cable company trying to dig all the cable out. So we're sure we're having some transmission issues there. I think that we're going to let you go because I know you're battling some back issues and you've been a trooper coming on and talking to us today. So I want to let you go try to get that taken care of.
All right. Pleasure being on. Thank you for having me.
All right. Well, if everybody out there, if you get a chance, you definitely check out the St. Tommy series and everything else Declan's written. And hopefully the 2 Luna books and my Pluto book and the rest of the planetary series will be out sometime this year. And I would recommend everybody check those out because I think you're going to be in a few of them. I'm going to be in a few of them.
Yeah, although at this point, don't even ask me how many of them I'm going to be in.
Yeah, I've lost track, and I've lost track of when. I know Earth is out, and that's the first one I'm in, so I'm waiting on the rest.
I hear you.
All right, Declan, you take care. Thanks for coming on, and we will be right back after these messages. Okay, that was a great show, wasn't it? Declan, great writer. If you have not yet read any of his books, and he has quite a few in his library, I really highly recommend you go and get started in on it because he's got some really good stuff out there that you're going to enjoy. I want to thank Declan for being on. Quick thing, if you want to start asking any of our guests questions, please send them to us by email. scribesjourney@gmail.com. You can go to our website, which is scribesjourney.com, and you can see who's coming up. We got some great guests. Tosca Lee is coming up in about a month. Really looking forward to having her on. We've got some interesting, some different folks as far as some nonfiction writers that are coming up. If you remember I believe it's the McMartin preschool trials back in the 80s, we've got a couple of writers who dug into that, and they have written an incredible book, which I am reading right now. They're going to be on our show. feel free to email them in. And if you are a author and you would like to come on our show, we would love to have you. Now, right now we are booked all the way through the end of July, but we can get you set up and going for August or September. If you're interested, please drop us a line at scribesjourney.com. scribesjourney@gmail.com, and we'll see about getting you lined up and get you on the show. Love to have you. The more authors we talk to, we not only help you connect with readers, but we also find out a little bit more about your process and help other authors who are out there trying to get their first book done and trying to decide if they even want to finish it. If you are one of those, I recommend you finish it. Please keep writing, because we need all the voices we can get. It doesn't matter your personal views, your religious views, your political views, right, left, center, out beyond Pluto. I don't care. It doesn't matter. Get your story told and share it with the rest of us, because we want to hear it. What do you say we go ahead and head on out? We'll see you next week. In the meantime, writers, keep writing. Readers, keep reading. And oh, by the way, writers, I screwed that up, but keep walking the path of a scribe's journey.
This has been a Scribe's Journey with your host, Richard Palinelli, a Tuscany Bay Productions president.